What's good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down some big news that came out involving the markets, which you should be watching for as time progresses. But let me just mention that I am not a financial planner. Make sure you take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15 in total. And the offer ends very soon, in just about 9 days from now. Anyways, for SPY, we're seeing this nice counter trend move, trying to break above this resistance. And we're starting to see a lot of buyers stepping in after some big news that just came out. So President Joe Biden has dropped out of the 2024 presidential election, endorsing Kamala Harris as the Democratic nominee. That's some very, very important news. Now, I just want to say that this was speculation last week. There's lots of big officials saying that this was going to happen. They were recommending this and this and that. As part of why the market was actually dropping the way it dropped. So it's almost as if the market kind of knew this news was going to come out, which is why it dipped initially. But you know how there's those buy the rumor, sell the news events where the market could sell off over something, or even like pump about over something, and they get a very, very opposite reaction once the news officially comes out. So in this case, it was the opposite. The market was just dipping and dipping and dipping because of this piece of news and other pieces of news. And as soon as the news comes out, the market's now trying to rally in the opposite direction. So that's something that's very important and worth noting. I just want to say that I wish the best for, President Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and also former President Donald Trump in their pursuits. So I just wish the best for everyone. I just want to be very unbiased when I say so. Moving forward, I just want to mention that for today, there's not really much data coming out. At 11:30 a.m., we have the 3-month and 6-month bill auctions coming out. I want to make that very, very clear that there might be some volatility, but not really much, at least for then. As far as earnings goes, we had Verizon announce its earnings. I'll talk more about that later. Nothing else too significant came out. But going into Tuesday, that's when we have some very, very important stuff tomorrow. Before the market opens, we have GM and Coca-Cola announcing their earnings. And then after market close, we have Tesla and Alphabet. Can't wait to see what they announce, especially Tesla. It's going to be huge. On top of all of this, I just wanted to mention that the S&P 500 fell 1.97% last week. The Nasdaq Composite was down 3.65%. And we saw big shifts here and there. On top of this, there's still a lot of talk about President Joe Biden kind of leaving the presidential race. So we'll see how things go. And we have a lot of big tech earnings coming out very soon. Can't wait to see what happens with those. There's a lot of talk about Tesla's margins and such coming out before Tesla's earnings. That's going to be tomorrow. Can't wait to see what they announce. Without further ado, though, let's now just talk about what's happening with the markets. So SPY is getting this nice counter trend move. When you zoom out of the chart like this, you guys can see I drew out this white trend line. This was our resistance, this white trend line. And we're actually breaking through this. This is actually a sign that this is trying to break out. If we hold and manage to open above 552, we could be looking for a move all the way up towards very close to 555 could be coming. We'll have to see if that breaks or not. If it did break, 557 would be the next target. But watch for an attempt to get all the way up there. Now, this does not mean that this move is going to be forever. SPY is going to rally and rally and rally. It could push a bit, but then eventually reject. So you want to be very careful. This could just be a counter trend rally that's temporary. It does not have to be forever. For now, I do see potential for us to go higher, especially if we hold above 552.5 on SPY. But just be careful, especially as we approach the 555 area. So I do see some more upside potential. We'll have to see how things kind of progress from here. If we were to end up losing 552, I'll be looking at basically 550.5 to eventually 548.5 as supports. But this is favoring upside temporarily. So I'll be watching this very, very carefully. We're seeing the same thing on ES. We're actually going to be testing 55.92 to 50 EMA. We'll see if that breaks or not. Red resistance on ES could attempt to go higher, so watch for that. For NQ, for those who are interested in futures, looking at 19,900 as resistance. If this continues to hold, we could get closer to about 20,000 plus. So I am seeing some potential in NQ. The QQQ is trying to break out towards 441. If that breaks, watch 443, then 445. Those are going to be 3 resistance levels. Our support's at 480.5. If 480 fails us, we'll be dipping all the way down to 478. And if that fails us, then yes, we could come down to fill that gap. So watch for that. If we lose 478, we turn bearish. And if we break past 481, we remain bullish. The QQQ is looking a little bit more bullish, just like SPY. And by the way, about SPY, if we lose 550.5, then yes, we could come down to fill the gap towards 548. I don't favor that. SPY is still looking more bullish nonetheless. For Bitcoin, we're likely going to continue to uptrend, approaching resistance towards 68,000. Could even try to break through that, so watch for that very carefully. For Nvda, We have 121 as resistance. If this breaks, we could be going all the way up to the 122s. We have this nice range going back and forth between 118 and 122. If that breaks, I'll be looking for 126 essentially. So watch and see if that ends up being the move. We actually have a very, very nice looking range right here. So I favor upside a little bit more. But like I said before, I think we might just remain in this range for now. If we had lost 118, I'd be looking at 115 and then 120. I'm sorry, 110, excuse me, guys. If we break 122, I'll be looking for 125 and 128. As of right now, we're just kind of range bound. So we're going to likely remain range bound for now on Nvidia. Give it some time and we'll see what the bigger move happens to be. For Tesla, we're trying to push right over here. We'll see if we can try to break out towards. If we could hold above 244, I'll be looking for a move all the way up towards about 247. If we fail at 244, look for 241.5 as our support. If that fails us, we have a gap to fill down to 239. Just want to call that out. As of right now, we look like we want to push higher though. For Apple, Apple has 227 as resistance. If this breaks, we could be looking for 228 and then 230. If we fail to break past 228, we could be dipping back down towards 225. If that fails us, we could fill this imbalance down to 224. As of right now, it looks like Apple's trying to accumulate and start pushing higher, so it favors upside a bit more. Let me go over just a few more. The IWM, it ended up dipping all the way down to about 216, but it held gap supports. Now it's trying to rebound. Look at 218.5 if we could break that or not. If that breaks, look for 220 plus. If it fails, we could be dipping down to fill this gap. But overall, it looks more bullish. For a few more, we have Coinbase. Coinbase remains bullish, going to be looking for 262.5 to 265. Could push a little bit higher, then we'll see if there's a rejection or not. For Amazon, we're trying to rebound. We have a nice inverse head and shoulders like structure. If we break past 185, we'll be looking for a push all the way up towards 188. If we reject here, we'll be dipping back down towards 184. If we lose that, then I'll be looking for this gap fill towards 182. But this looks more bullish in terms of its pattern. Might try to push higher for at least 188. As long as we hold above 185, I am seeing some potential in this. Meta has a nice cup and handle like structure. If we continue to hold above 485, I'll be looking for push for about 490 plus. Let me just double check this. Microsoft, nice inverse head and shoulders as well. We got to try to hold above 440.69. If that breaks, I'll be looking for this imbalance to fill towards 446. If we lose 434, we'll be dipping all the way down lower, but this favors upside. Google is also favoring the upside. We could be looking for this imbalance to fill all the way up towards 184. If that breaks, we'll be looking for a much bigger move to the upside to 188. As a nice double bottom, it does have upside potential. I do see a move towards about 184 coming, as long as we hold above 181.69, yes, but this also depends on other factors. Don't forget, Google also has earnings, not to mention Tesla and a couple of others like Coca-Cola. So we'll see how things go. But with that being said, guys, that is it for my analysis. Essentially, the market is trying to push it, but I do think it's going to push a little bit higher. But just to be safe, make sure you watch some key levels and see if we can maintain these structures. Don't forget that if SPY loses 550.5, we turn back down to fill this gap. If we keep going, if we keep maintaining structure above 552.5, I'll be looking for a move for 555. So watch our levels just to be safe. And just note for now, we're seeing a counter trend move. And don't forget, it might not last forever. It might just be temporary as the market had quite a bit of downside, which could continue later on. But for now, we're trying to push to the upwards direction that may perpetuate for the time being. All right. Thank you for listening, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one, and peace out.